to music first, always.
We are unstoppable.
Open the frontiers to make people meet people.
Music is not fireworks. Music is feeling.
You're good to go.
Thank you, vote for the music!
This is Vote for the Music, the Eurovision podcast.
Hello and welcome back to Vote for the Music, the Eurovision podcast. I'm Benjamin Widdybank.
And I'm Tadeusz.
Now today we're coming to our final quickfire review of the Eurovision Song Contest 2024. We've done 15 of the songs in the first semi-final, we've done 15 of the songs in the second semi-final, we've done all of the big five, which leaves us just with one final entry, and that is Sweden's entry, the host country, the place where Malmö, our host city, is, and their entry, which of course comes from two Norwegians. Now once again, as I've mentioned on the last two reviews, we are talking about this before the rehearsals have taken place from our point of view, but after the rehearsals have taken place from your point of view. So you know exactly what this looks like on the Eurovision stage. We do not. Just keep that in mind. But without further ado, shall we talk about Unforgettable by Marus and Martinus? So if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you'll remember during Melodifestivalen this year, that's Sweden's national selection, we did cover that quite in depth. So we have spoken about this song before, and I liked it then, and I like it now. It was actually my favourite song in Melodifestivalen, so I was overjoyed when it went, and I was there right in the Friends Arena cheering it on. And yeah, of course, I really like this. It's high up on my ranking. I think it's going to get a good result at the Eurovision Song Contest. I think it's a really, really good song. I think it's excellently staged. I think it's really well charismatically performed. I've really got very little negatives to this, which, to be honest, based upon what I know of my co-host's thoughts on this, I don't think is going to be the same.
Look, Unforgettable is not unlistenable. We've heard far worse things coming from Swedish machine, but really, is this what we want in the contest?
Yes, I think it is what we want in the contest. It's a very good, very well produced pop song, and that's what Sweden bring us at the Eurovision Song Contest. They bring us the quality. They bring us winning contenders every single year. While I do prefer a Hold Me Closer or a Tattoo, which are absolutely going above and beyond, this is still like 9 out of 10, and I would very, very happily have that. And I think this is going to be an excellent opener on the grand final of this year's Eurovision Song Contest. And to be honest, I think even though it's beginning the show, they could do very, very well. And I would predict minimum top 5 for this. Absolutely top 5.
Sweden, in its chase for musical perfection, just went back to the beginning, too afraid to try everything else, because it would break the initial harmony and no longer would be perfect. Well, guess what? Maybe musical perfection requires something more than just pencil and measuring stick. Maybe you sometimes have to break the harmony to truly express something. And maybe, just maybe, your musical inbreeding may keep you sick.
Musical inbreeding? Sorry, what are you on about? I mean, yes, so the general mould of how Sweden write their Eurovision songs is through songwriting camps, and it's not just Sweden that do that. A lot of countries do that, and not just in the Nordics. That is the standard mould for pop music, and it has been for years. Now, I guess there are different controversial opinions on that, whether we think that's good for music, whether we think that's bad for music, but fundamentally, it's a creative process where a group of people will come together and they say, okay, today we're going to write a song in this style. They write a song in that style, they workshop it together, and then they come out with a song. At the end of the day, the next day they move on to another one, and then they decide which ones are the best ones, and then those get submitted to Melodifestivalen. That's how it works in Sweden. It's just not the format you're typically used to in the creative approach of someone or a couple of people coming together and then just organically writing a song over a number of days or weeks or whatever. It's just a different approach, and it is a default in Sweden. It's a default in many, many places. But I don't think it's in any way the negative that you're describing. I don't think it's inherently artificial or inherently devoid of substance. I think there certainly are songs made in that way that can be, but I certainly don't think Unforgettable is one of those. I think this is absolutely a shining beacon of what a good song written in this format can get us. And I think it's really going to pay off for Sweden, because I think this is great.
But we will give it a gajillion points, so what do I know?
Not just the jury, come on. This has absolutely huge televoting appeal as well. Yes, of course, the biggest weakness we worry about the televote is just because it's opening the show. We know that was drawn randomly, so it's going to be song number one. And historically, song number one has suffered quite a lot in the televote just because people forget it by the end of the show. But the rules have changed this year. Voting will open from the start of the grand final. It's not in the semi-finals, but in the grand final, from the start of the show, voting will be open. And of course, that means if Unforgettable makes a really, really big impression there in the moment, then people will get their phones out straight away. And also, we do know that Chris Bjorkman, who is the person making the running orders, has form with singing slightly less good, less competitive, boring songs around Sweden's entry. And I believe that probably after song number one, song 2, 3, 4 might not be the most interesting, most competitive songs in the world, which might also put inherent biases in the audience's mind to vote for Sweden even just a few songs later, as I see the competition isn't really stacking up to it. Also, regardless of all of that, if it just makes a really good, really strong, really competitive first impression, then absolutely this is going to get votes anyway. I really don't think being first on the night is going to affect it as much as many people think, and I think this can get not just a high jury score but a high televote score.
No offense to Marus and Martinus, they are quite good singers, both of them, and I think they would benefit from getting better songs than this. Perhaps it's worth trying back in their home Norway. They're not completely out of ideas yet.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to take issue with that. I'm fairly certain if Marus and Martinus has entered NGP with Norwegian songwriters, they would have a far, far worse song than Unforgettable. This is a really quality song, it's really good, and it's going to get a good result. So I think your general pessimism towards Sweden and towards Melodifestivalen is fairly unfounded and fairly unfair, because as a whole, Melodifestivalen has a far, far higher quality across the board than anything you see in Melody Grand Prix in Norway. But yes, Unforgettable is great, it's a brilliant entry, and I really can't wait to see Sweden prove you wrong and get an excellent result on the 11th of May. So there we have it. That is our quickfire review of Sweden, our final quickfire review of the year. Can you believe it? 36 reviews, all done. I hope you're not too tired of us. Now, of course, there is still more of us to come. Tomorrow we'll be releasing a full omnibus episode of our reviews of all of the Big Five and Sweden, all the automatic qualifiers there. So if you want to listen to all our thoughts in one place for these songs, you can come back tomorrow and see all of that. Then, of course, we are getting right in to the 7th of May, right into the Eurovision Song Contest 2024, and our coverage will continue daily as we bring previews of the shows and our thoughts of them after them. So we'll try and get those out as quickly as we can, when we can, but stay tuned for all of that. We've got some very exciting stuff coming up for you. So to obviously keep up to date with all of that, you can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, wherever else you may get your podcasts. And that does include YouTube, where you can leave a comment down below. You can give us a like, or you can subscribe to us. You can also interact with our Q&As on Spotify. But until then, thank you so very much for listening, and remember to vote for the music.
This is to music first, always.
We are unstoppable.
Open the frontiers to make people meet people.
Music is not fireworks. Music is feeling.
You're good to go.
Thank you both for the music.
This is Vote for the Music, the Eurovision podcast.